but it was just, and then again, she would do that. And then the partner would come back from the deployment and she would accuse her of cheating while she's on deployment. I'm like, it was a complete mess. It was a complete mess. And it was just like, it was wild.
Oh yeah, and it's all about like you say, launching in, because I imagine there's a version of Marcus that's looking to get into house hacking, and then he hears a story about these relationships and never start. It's actually about just figuring it out. My granddaddy owns rooming houses to this day. He's owned a rooming house for decades. Incredible. And one thing that he learned is, and this is something that he had to learn from himself. He say, I don't rent a room to couples anymore, because a lot of couples aren't as what's the word I'm looking for? They aren't as willing to collaborate to make a successful dissolution as that couple was. A lot of times, once one of the members of the couple is gone, that single member can't afford that room by themselves. Right. Absolutely. So now you going through this whole process of going through this, figuring it out. And so what my granddaddy had to do was he had to make a rule, because he also, what he discovered is when he would rent to a woman by herself. Now, there are a lot of places that rent solely to women, right? But he discovered that he can't rent to women in the rooming house, because what ends up happening is when they couldn't pay, all of a sudden there was they felt uncomfortable. There's some type of harassment, right? So he had to make a rule. All right, I don't rent the couples, I don't rent the women. But that was a part of his process of saying, all right, and this is what I do. I rent to single men, and this is what keeps my rooming house going forward. Did you have to set any rules throughout this process to who you can and can't rent to?
Yeah, there was some just unspoken rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't ever want to be toted, or I've rented to women before, and she was an HR professional, and so she
knew exactly what to say.
Right, she knows the law. So, but you definitely develop certain criteria that you look for. You definitely develop certain characteristics that you look for. And then as I expanded my real estate, I had bought a duplex. I had one tenant who, come to find out, she was cooking commercially in my house, in my duplex. Oh my and, she kept, because what happened, she kept breaking, I would get a phone call. She kept breaking the stove, and she kept breaking it. And I kept having to send maintenance out to repair it. And I said, what is going on? I asked the guy, just when you go in there, find out what the heck is going on. How do you break a stove? And she was cooking commercially. She would cook these big, large pots and meals, and then she would sell them for money. And so being an entrepreneur myself, I'm not going to knock your hustle, and I'm not going to evict you, because that allows her to pay me rent. So I just upgraded. Once I knew that, I upgraded her stove to a commercial grade stove, and I put it in the house. I didn't evict her. I could have, by all means, I could have legally evicted her. I had everything I needed to evict her, but I said, no, let me just upgrade you, because this is what allows you and affords you the ability to pay rent. So I upgraded her stove to a commercial grade. But those are the scenarios that you walk through, and I've walked in and again learned and grew into the leader, the influencer that I am today.
You're a very wise man, very wise, because everything that I'm getting from you is, what's the problem? What's the solution? Just because it isn't what I originally thought or what I originally said, now that I know what's going on, how do I fix it? Keep this person being a money generating member of society, so that I can keep them in this house safely, and so they get all these pros and I get these pros as well.
Yeah, it's a win-win. She doesn't break my stove anymore because it's a high capacity, multi-use stove and high grade, high heat stove. But again, it's not, and it's allows her to pay rent. I'm not going to knock you and say, I think that's the wildest thing you could do. I'm going to spend all this money to evict you when I could just simply make this adjustment to the appliances in the house and protect the house, and everybody wins. You make money, you continue to make money, you get to serve your clients. You get to see people while they're naked, so to speak. I guess that falls in line with the entrepreneurs, right? You get to see people fully naked. To be an entrepreneur, you have to be a little naked to see people for who they are. So yeah.
Absolutely.